290 nanometers to 700 nanometers. And now we can see the data that the spectrophotometer produced. It appears that our solution absorbs light over a range of colors, and the peak absorption is at 590 nanometers.
All around the world, from Baltimore to Budapest, the human spirit's in unrest. The economy collapsing, corporate interest rising, wartime religion on the run. Oh, but no one's asked me what I think, what I want, but I'm here to tell you anyway. This is a strange world that we live in, and these are indeed strange times. Oh, if you want to understand them, you gotta have a strange mind.
Welcome everyone. Nice to see you again, and welcome to another episode of Clinical Depression, finding no pleasure at all in most activities. I'm not sure which camera I'm looking in. A show in which we explore the condition of clinical depression and how it informs the culture. We also provide proven tips and tricks for confronting acute symptoms of depression and anxiety in ourselves and others. Glad you could make it, as I mentioned. It's always nice to see you. Thanks for dropping by. We have a big show tonight. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague and co-host, Evan Fox, who's just panhandling out front. We got a nice conversation. He's not doing anything, so we're going to see what he has to say in a little while. And we're going to... let's see, this one right here, and what we're going to be doing, Evan's going to be presenting The Bright Side with Evan Fox, and later on we're going to be joined by Andrew Nelson, who's going to be presenting some tips and tricks. And so, you know, we are fully live, and we're already into what we're doing right now. We're just going to keep it rolling. And if you watched last month's episode, you saw us take an exploration into the cautionary tale of the American pop culture icon Marilyn Monroe in one of our segments, Spotlight on History. And tonight we're going to kick off the show with a segment of Spotlight on History, just like we did last show, if I could see where, here it is. But tonight's subject is not someone who succumbed tragically to depression, but rather it's a person who certainly was no stranger to the highs, lows, ups, downs, twists, turns, and depths of a life lived truly on the edge of the known and unknown, of what is and what could be, a glorious, triumphant figure who passed away this month at the age of 69, an agent of change, provocation, and wonder, someone who we turn to as an antidepressant, the great David Bowie. Be yourself, implored the great Irish poet Oscar Wilde. Everyone else is taken. David Bowie, after nearly a decade of fits and starts as a slightly younger contemporary of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and the British invasion cultural revolution of the 1960s, splashed unapologetically across the world stage as an otherworldly, gender-bending leper messiah in 1972, fully actualized as the mythical character Ziggy Stardust. And suddenly the sincere peace and love in the 1960s gave way to the fearlessly honest, you-figure-it-out, individualistic, no-holds-barred, gender-fluid exploration of the 1970s. Where did this come from? How did this come to be? Born David Robert Jones in South London in 1947, Bowie grew up in post-war London as the city was rebuilt after the Nazi aerial blitz of World War II. David spoke kindly of his father, John Jones, describing him as a compassionate man who, quote, had a lot of love in him but couldn't express it. I can't remember him ever touching me. Of his mom, David said, quote, a compliment from her was very hard to come by. I would get my paints out and all she could say was, I hope you're not going to make a mess. He said he was, quote, cut off from his feelings since I was maybe 4 years old. To one biographer, he stated, there's a lot of madness in my family, real effing madness. It worries me because I don't know whether it's in my genes and if I'll end up that way too. Bowie's aunt Una suffered from clinical depression and schizophrenia, underwent electric shock treatment and died in her late 30s. A second aunt, Nora, was lobotomized in an effort to cure what her mother described as, quote, bad nerves. And on the very first day they met, David told his first wife, Angie, quote, paranoid schizophrenia runs in my family on my mother's side. Well, Evan, she doesn't say, Angie doesn't mention if that was his opening line. But that's what she said that he did say on the first day that they met. Mm-hmm. David shared a bedroom as a child with his half-brother Terry, who was almost 10 years older than David and who was eventually diagnosed as a manic depressive schizophrenic, and Terry was eventually institutionalized and committed suicide in 1985. Terry introduced David to music and took him out to clubs for the first time. Terry was institutionalized for the first time in 1969, just as David scored with his breakthrough hit Space Oddity, in which he declared, your circuit's dead, there's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do. David continued to express his kinship and understanding of madness as he rose to fame, as in his follow-up album in 1970, The Man Who Sold the World. In the song All the Madmen, in which he sings, quote, give me some good old lobotomy, 'cause I'd rather stay here with all the madmen than perish with the sad men roaming free. And as you could see, he also empowered himself by questioning gender roles, by appearing in a lovely dress, a nice couch, freshly washed hair. You know, if Elvis Presley never came along, surely there would have been some other good-looking country boy who would have stole black music and brought it to the white mainstream. But if David Bowie hadn't come along, was anyone else really going to lead the charge for gender-fluid superheroes from some other planet? Some other world? Some other realm? David's vision was so unique and yet oddly deeply familiar, rooted as it was in and informed by authentic alienation, courage, madness, and delightful purity. Quote, oh, it's the madness in his eyes as he breaks the night to cry. It's really me. In psychotherapeutic thought, there is a concept called the theory of paradoxical change, which states that in order for change to occur, one must first be allowed to truly be who they are. The best way to change is to stop trying to change. Change does not take place through a coercive attempt by the individual, but it does take place if one takes the time and effort to be what he is, to be fully invested in his current positions. David explored the roots of alienation, isolation, and cosmic loneliness, and he consoled us with hard-edged, brilliant beauty. David is widely described as a chameleon. I got 3 minutes. I got to fill up about 2 minutes and 15 seconds to leave time for the guests. So let's see. As he assumed a new character, look, and sound nearly every year, as he killed off Ziggy and became Aladdin Sane, the Thin White Duke, crooning soul singer, coked out and deliberately isolated in Berlin and flirting with fascist imagery, a new wave pop star, a movie star, a venerated yet elegantly modest elder statesman, a supermodel marrying international jet setter. The paradox being that the more he changed, the more his core self emerged in greater focus, and the deeper we felt his courageous purity, that we could be heroes just for one day. As he said, he felt that the process of aging was simply, quote, to become the person you were supposed to be all along. Which is why when he died, we felt more alone than ever before, and paradoxically more immersed and closer to and in greater understanding than ever before of Bowie's transformational and cleansing energy, as he was at peace with his mortality and content that he did and was doing all he could. And that concludes this month's segment of Spotlight on History, in which we celebrate the great, empowering, compassionate, badass antidepressant force of David Bowie and resolve to turn and face the strange changes. Thank you, David. If I can do a fade long, fade short. If you have anything you'd like to say, anything you want to add to the show, don't hesitate, but send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Clinical Depression, care of Cambridge Community Television, 438 Massachusetts Avenue, Cambridge, Massachusetts, 02139. We'll send you a postcard and we'll read your letter on the air. And keep in mind, one strategy for depression recovery is to get involved socially with a cause that you believe in. So you could always, I suggest checking out Food Not Bombs. They meet over at 9A Hamilton Place, right next to the entrance of the Orpheum. You may recognize that that's where we had the World Refugee Festival last year. Look them up on facebook.com/group/Boston Food Not Bombs. And, well, as you can see, it's 7:43. I did it, and we're going to do a star because the next segment we have is from Evan Fox, who's going to be presenting The Bright Side. Evan, great to meet you tonight on the sidewalk. You still feel like talking tonight?
Sure.
We're live, yeah.
Yeah, sure. You should probably sit up straighter.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we look pretty good together. Yeah, all right, man. Yeah, go for it. You
Sure.
got 6 minutes.
Great.
7:50. 7:50 is a cutoff.
Okay.
So.
Well, it's winter again. What are other obvious things I can say currently?
That's a good start.
Venice is sinking.
What's sinking?
Venice.
Venice is sinking.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah,
man.
the planet could be obliterated by a solar flare at any moment. We'd never know it was coming. My hands are really red because I'm afraid of getting MRSA, so I wash them all the time. And as a result, I probably have a higher likelihood of getting it than most people. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about today. We were talking outside about social anxiety. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of people to talk to about social anxiety. I mean, I do, but I don't like talking to people. So I don't know. I mean, let's talk about that. Do you want to?
Well, I think that's pretty much why I got this TV show. I don't like talking to people either. I figure, I kind of have to, I guess. So this.
I mean, do you have social anxiety?
Yeah, it propels me into doing this show.
Yeah. I mean, my social anxiety is like a total nightmare. I mean, like, it's a real nightmare. It's like I regularly have nightmares. Like,
so is mine.
Like I have nightmares, Johnny, a lot. Like I just keep climbing up that tree. The fire keeps chasing me. How is that possible? How can fire chase somebody?
Well, I have a friend who's a Jungian dream therapist, and she always tells me that in dreams, our subconscious mind is alerting us to what we actually need to be aware of. So maybe that fire, you could think about what that fire symbolizes to you, like what you're most afraid of, what you feel is going to track you down.
I mean, well, if you're anything like me, it's really easy for you to get anxious outside of your own, social ecosystem, which Happens to me all the time. And my advice to people is often to just stick to what you know. And that's probably just to say, talk about yourself. You know, I talk about myself all the time. I insist upon myself in conversation in order to let people know that I am comfortable talking to them in a social setting. It's either that or I take 2 Benadryl and a shot of whiskey before I leave the house. I find that the real, like, internal struggle tends to be completely blown away with just a little bit of antihistamine. The drowsiness makes me a bit more affable, I guess I've been told. But I don't know. I mean, my advice to people is maybe find like a close social network of people that you're interested in talking to, and maybe like crack a couple of jokes and get the room going, and then maybe other people will be like, who's that funny guy talking over there outside of that circle? I should turn in and pay attention. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm doing with this show, really.
Right. So when you're telling those jokes, right, you want to like kind of just work the room a little bit, tell a funny story, get a couple of laughs, and then when people start to pay attention to you, is when you should probably start to like tell the same story in a slightly varied manner for the people that missed it the first time, and then if there's other people that join in, then you can tell that story again, and that's.
I got my stories down. I mean, ask my wife. I mean, I kind of refine them every year. Steal jokes. I do same thing for me. Whatever it takes to kind of just ease my own tension, and kind of at the same time ease whatever tension there may be in the room.
Right. I mean, we were talking about me though.
Yeah, and I kind of I relate, and that's part of the reason why I like you, because I don't like talking about myself, and so it's nice to when you talk about.
But my advice was kind of like, if you turn your charm into a chore, people will talk about you. But the real bright side is then you're gonna be talking. So at least you talked, right?
I'm trying to once in a while, I kind of try to here and there try to fill in, have some relevant feedback and keep the conversation rolling.
Cool. Well, this is making me super uncomfortable. So I'm gonna stop talking in a moment. I just want to.
Was it anything that I did, Evan?
No, I just didn't want to leave the house today. It was the thing. I don't know. It's a thing.
I could certainly relate to that.
Right.
In some ways, I feel like I haven't left the house, kind of. Like I take my house with me, kind of. Like it's keep my own level of comfort. Sometimes I'll visualize that, I'm still on my couch.
This is a pretty bare bones setup you got here then.
It is. It's a little minimalist, kind of cold. I'm on the blue light, you're on the green. Not sure what that symbolizes.
I don't know. I mean, it's comforting.
I mean, we look kind of good together, I think. Yeah, we could look better. I didn't wash my hair last night, today.
I haven't washed my hair since August. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking.
Okay. Well, we just have well, Evan, thank you so much. I think again, I think I could probably hit the back button here a couple times. Yeah, Evan just said a lot, and we want to hear your feedback. Just send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to what you see there on the screen. And now I'm going to see if I could find. I think it's it's going to be right here. We got it. We're going to do a star. Andy, why don't you come up, pull your chair up, and you've got the next 6 minutes. And we're going to have tips and tricks with Andrew Nelson. I believe that's his name. He was outside on the sidewalk too. And I think if we do a fade short, you're almost on the screen. Hey, I'm sure you recognize Andy. He used to work at the bookstore at Harvard Books for several years. Pretty sure, but I'm cutting into your time, Andy. This is you now.
Well, this is about tips and tricks. I've had depression. We all have. Everyone has. For various things, and I got this. This is a guitar. I got it as a way to like communicate, because words don't really do depression justice. Uh, so it's like, I think music does that far better. I'm not a musician. I'm not. I'm bad at it. Well, no, I'm not bad. I just don't like. I'm not like a music person. Like, I don't know scales or anything like that. Like, it's just like, this is all about like communication. Like, it's trying to like communicate all those things that are like inside, that like can't escape the space between me and someone else. You know? And so I'm gonna play a little bit, and I like, my tip is to just like play, and yours can be anything, like any experience, anything that you can use to like converse without talking, I guess. Okay. Yeah.
Well, Andy,
That's it. That's all I have.
what do you mean that's all you had? That was quite a lot, Andy.
Okay.
That was far more than enough. Again, I think we could probably if you have any whoops, I think we want to go to this one. Oh, we could probably do fade again. You want to give Andy some feedback? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope and let him know how well he did. And we'll send you a postcard, and we'll read your letter on the air. Whoops. Oh, there we are. And I think, man, what does this shot look like? We have another 15 seconds. Let's see if this one. Oh, this would be a really good one. Can we do a fade short to that? Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's going to be the screen grab. Let's see. Evan, could you move a little to your right? Oh, that's it. Let's see if we get, okay, let's get the perfect screen grab. Nice. Okay, that's going to be the keeper. That's the one. And I think we're going to go over here and do a star. Hey, all right. Well, thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next month.
All around the world, from Baltimore to Budapest, the human spirit's in unrest. The economy collapsing, corporate interests rising, what-time religion on the run. Oh, but no one's asked me what I think, what I want, but I'm here to tell you anyway. This is a strange world that we live in.